Welcome back to the Grindhouse, sickos. You ever been obsessed with a really gory horror movie or even a really cool murder case and feel like you were crazy for liking it? Well, same. I remember a period of my life when I was first exposed to exploitation and grindhouse films, which is where my name came from. It's almost nostalgic, really. Back when I was fascinated by films like a Serbian film, The Human Centipede, I Spit on Your Grave, Salo, and Cannibal Holocaust. Then I began watching YouTubers like Spooky Rice and Plagued Moth, and the rest is history. But there's a fine line between having an obsession over something somewhat normal and something absolutely mad, such as the Columbine shooting, one of the most infamous shootings in American history. For those unfamiliar with the Columbine shooting massacre, or the Columbine High School shooting massacre, was a school shooting and attempted bombing that occurred on April 20th, 1999 at Columbine High School in Columbine, Colorado, United States. That's a lot of Columbine. The perpetrators, 12th grade students Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, murdered 12 students and 1 teacher. That's the short version, as the shooting could be its own episode. But basically, there are many lunatics out there who admire the shooting and saw Eric and Dylan as heroes. Why? We don't know. But what we do know is we should stay far away from these people. One of the people who stand out is a little gremlin known as Alvaro Castillo. He was 18 around the time he started obsessing with the shooting. Similar to Ricardo Lopez, he began making tapes documenting his very unhealthy obsession. He had his mom drive him to the Columbine High School once, and his mom, for some reason, agreed. In one of the tapes, he stated some of his favorite movies were Predator 1 and 2 and Natural Born Killers, which was apparently Eric and Dylan's favorite movie, according to Alvaro. Something else Alvaro talked about was his dad put him through abuse, and also his mother and his sister, he abused them as well, and talked about how he could still hear the sound his hand made when his hand hit their bodies. Always sad to know that people like this are usually never born this way. There's always a driving force behind it. He stated it wasn't the physical pain that hurt, but the emotional pain knowing that a person you loved and trusted was doing this to you, which I'm sure many sufferers of domestic abuse can relate to. Alvaro would also frequently show off his gun collection to the camera, and he had one very special rifle named Anna, which was named after his high school crush. There's a tape which featured him making out with the gun. Eventually, he must have gotten tired of sleeping with his gun, so he recorded a tape of himself talking to his crush and revealing his feelings for her. Once it was done, he took it to his dad and asked him to mail it to her for him. And so he did. And when he returned home from the post office, Alvaro was just about to blow his brains out with a shotgun. But his dad managed to take the gun away from him and called 911, which I can't tell if it's bad parenting or just plain fear of your kid doing something real bad. So the police came and dragged him into the nut house. After he was booted from the circus a week later, they had told him not to be in contact with guns and to take antidepressants. But it was about as efficient as Jack, and he had bought another shotgun literally a week later. This began the period in which Alvaro would write in his diary about doing a similar shooting to the Columbine shooting, but at his own high school, the Orange High School, which, by the way, sounds like a very tasty name. On August 30th, 2006, Alvaro shot his dad 6 times, and unlike Vito Corleone, he did not survive. After this, he got into the family van and drove all the way to his high school, locked and loaded. Once there, he set off a cherry bomb, which honestly seems as intimidating as a fart in a bathtub, and started shooting at the students with a 9mm Hi.995 carbine and a sawed-off 12-gauge Mossberg 500 pump-action shotgun. I don't know how I did that without stuttering. But lo and behold, his gun jammed, and that's when a deputy sheriff tackled him and subdued the little sucker. 2 students were hurt, but thankfully none dead. Later that day, it was discovered that Alvaro had killed his dad to, quote-unquote, put him out of his misery, as he said. He also apparently said, "Columbine, remember Columbine," when getting into the police car. What a worm. And like almost every young aspiring dumbass, he emailed countless people stating what he was going to do. Notably his principal, to which he said, "Dear Principal, in a few hours, you will probably hear about a school shooting in North Carolina. I am responsible for it. I remember Columbine. It is time the world remembered it. I am sorry. Goodbye. During his court trial, he tried to state he was not guilty because he was mentally insane. His psychologist James Hilke testified that Castillo suffered from schizotypal and obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, as well as major depressive disorder, and was not in touch with reality at the time of the shooting. But of course, nobody gave a shit, and on August 21st, 2009, Alvaro was found guilty in Orange County Superior Court. Following a trial that lasted 3 weeks, he was sentenced to a life in prison with no chance of parole. God damn. And that is the story of Alvaro Castillo. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really had fun making this script, and I really had fun reading it to you guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.